So
They
I'm sorry. Go
lost.
ahead.
We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. By the time you hear this, it's Sunday. However, we're recording it Friday night. Will is with us. He's a little fired up, but what's new with that? Um,
What's
I was
not
I
to
was
be
telling
fired up from? I have
I was
no.
talking
It's not like it's on purpose. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was talking to Ed on an earlier program, yesterday's
Mhm.
program. You heard Ed, and I said, Ed, you were a newsman where I worked for a long time, and we had those
Mhm.
news days where there was nothing going on. It was hard to come up with things to talk about. I haven't seen a day like that in at least 10 years. There's always some
Maybe,
bullshit going on.
maybe 1 or 2 days in the Biden administration. A
Yeah,
couple of
but Donald's still
days.
yapping off on the side there
Yeah, and
anyway, all the
that's
time.
the thing. Yeah, I haven't. I mean, people are reaching the boiling point for a lot of people. And but I did a video the other day. I was watching, going through YouTube, and the Bulwark has with Tim Miller has a channel. Now the Bulwark is a conservative rag. They were
Yeah,
conservative rag for they're a bunch of Reaganites, but they turned anti-Trump because, well, let me
he's an
lay
idiot.
let me lay this out really well for you guys. The Lincoln Project, Rick Wilson and et al., the Bulwark and all their people were fucking conservative Reaganites, Bush people. Okay, they laid the motherfucking ground for what we see today. They just got surprised that Trump showed up and ruined everything.
Yeah,
He took it to the new step. And this guy literally was on the YouTube, in tears because he had reached a breaking point and he didn't know what to do. And I'm sitting there looking at it, and no offense to you, Mike, I'm thinking, you privileged white motherfucker, live my life.
yeah.
Live my
Now,
life.
who was the one that was crying?
Tim Miller. He is
Tim
the head of
Miller?
the Bulwark. Tim Miller.
Really? You
Yes.
know, I really have a lot of problems with people who come on TikTok or on YouTube and do their podcast and they start weeping. There are plenty of sad things I've heard, but when you're talking to the public, you got to keep your composure a little bit. I'm just convinced most people just do this crying thing to garner empathy or attention.
Well, I think he was doing it because he wanted to show that he's very upset of what's going on. But the gist of his shit though was okay is that he's trying to bridge the gap between leftists and MAGA. He doesn't want the left to put a broad stroke on all conservatives and Republicans and MAGA like they do to the left. And I'm listening to this. I'm going, are you out of your goddamn mind? They are not. We can't redeem these people. These people are lost cause. They, if you want the biggest example of that, is the farmers. Okay,
Yeah.
Trump's going to bail these motherfuckers out.
Well, if
He's
he
going to do
can.
it.
Well, he said that, but Donald Trump has said a lot of things. I don't know that he actually will. Where's he going to get the money?
Oh, he says he's
What's
going
he
to get
going
it
to
from the
get out of
Trump.
it?
All the billions of dollars we're getting from tariffs. He's going to give to these guys.
Which he got from us. But
Right? No. He
like I
said
say,
from
it's
the other
one.
countries. That's
Well,
what he
that's
said.
what he says, but that's not in fact where it came from. But Donald Trump says a lot of things just to get himself out of trouble, and then he forgets about it, and moves on to something else.
Right.
We'll see. They can't even get the budget fucking done at this point.
Well,
So I'm not thinking that they're going to bail out the
but
farmers anytime soon, and for most of them, it'll be too late.
they were praying for Trump to do this, and he
Yeah,
tossed them something. And understand, there was another person who was doing a video about Oregon rural and why they keep voting against themselves and they don't get it. I just did a video a few minutes ago, and I know I'm getting spread because I'm not. I'm hold back. And TikTok want to bounce me again. Who give fuck cares? Because you just sold it to Fox anyway. So fuck them.
yeah,
But the
yeah,
point is, this fantasy of rural and small town America is bullshit. Okay, the worst things that happen in this country happen in small town America. because there
Sure.
is nothing there. They are so isolated. So they don't understand how the world works. So all they see is from Fox News that the world out there is coming to get them, or this fucking bullshit where they keep saying everyone ignores us. We don't matter. No, you do matter. You know why you matter? You matter from the inception of this country. The reason that slavery was still part of the United States is because in order to get the southern states to vote for the Constitution, they didn't want the slavery gone. We fought a civil war because you rural assholes didn't want to give up slavery and actually do the work on your farms. And then you turned it into indentured servitude later on with sharecropping, and no one did anything about it. Every time I hear these rural people come out and going, no one loves us, because you don't give us anything to love.
Well,
All you know
you
how
know,
to do is to hate everything
you know,
else.
you know what the ironic thing about this is these farmers that voted for Donald Trump and are now losing their farms. What's going to happen is the corporations are going to come and buy their shit and say you can still work the farm for a cut of of the profits, and now they've just reverted themselves back to sharecroppers.
Welcome
So
to
they
the
love
company
slavery.
store.
Yeah, they love slavery. Go ahead. How are you going to enjoy it now?
But they still will support Trump. There's a CNN poll because I'm reading, so I get the Hollywood Reporter because sometimes it does make it hits on some things. But this guy's writing politics in the Hollywood Reporter, saying that Jimmy Kimmel is going to save the Democrats. Go, what the fuck is this? He's saying that because, according to a CNN poll, that even though Trump is really weak and everything, people aren't still going to vote for Democrats because Democrats have dropped the ball. I'm going, what? What? I don't even know because I don't know where that poll's from. I don't know what their standards were. But you're telling me that again? You're talking about policy. I'm talking about democracy, and this bullshit is still going on. This
Well,
is insane.
that sentence you just said, you said two words, CNN and poll. I don't trust either
Yeah,
of them.
I got
So
you. But
it's kind of pointless.
but this would he used an example because he thinks that this is going to help them because the whole Kimmel thing went too far. You think? And I thought the ironic thing today, if you guys haven't read, which I just thought it was just unbelievably wonderful. When Kimmel came back, Sinclair and Nexstar went on their high horse. So they
Right.
weren't going to show a show. They haven't shown it for a couple of days. And they were just basically still wanting their extortion, their money for Turning Point and apology from Kimmel. They ain't getting it. We saw that. That was never going to
Right.
happen. Um, and so they kept pressing ABCs like, you need us, you need us. Well, what happened is that what you did was turn the target from Disney and ABC onto you.
Right.
And people went looking. And
Yep.
all of a sudden, Sinclair capitulated. And in their capitulation letter, they said, listening to the fair minded and very nice remarks by our viewers and our advertisers, we decided to put Jimmy Kimmel on. Let me kind of clarify that. They called the advertisers. The advertisers called us and said, "You guys better get your shit together. We're pulling our stuff from your stations."
Right.
That's how that
Exactly.
worked. They kept saying that this is a business decision. Welcome to business, dudes. That's the way you do it. And so they capitulate. Now, what they want from ABC still and Disney, part of the Paramount deal, they put in an ombudsman into CBS
Right.
to make sure that they don't do, they keep to the straight and narrow, that they don't overstep. I call that a political officer from the old days of the Cold War. And so
Absolutely.
they want ABC to do that. So because that gives the affiliates confidence that they are looking out for them to give them their programming. Disney and ABC is telling them, no, we are not doing that. And they keep saying, well, we're in negotiations. No, what you are is you're trying to save face. You got rolled over because the one thing Americans do not want taken away from is the ability to tell the president to go fuck himself. That's something we've
Exactly.
done since day one.
Well,
No.
it's interesting. It's interesting that they would say that this is what the affiliates want. We just went through a whole process, and what the affiliates want was clearly wrong. It's what the people want. So fuck the affiliates. I mean, people have to acknowledge and notice what happened here. Donald Trump and the corporations thought they could do whatever they wanted to do and shove it down our throats. But they found out very quickly that people are going to react quickly. They got very angry about it. 72 hours, they basically took down Disney, cost them $3 billion and millions of viewers. And then when it was turned on the Sinclair and Nexstar, they felt the pressure too. We got to recognize something here. People always say, what can we do? We can't do anything. Well, we just did something pretty significant. If we can do that, we can do that to the next one down the line. And that's what those people should be fearful
Yeah.
of.
And what we need to start talking about is ICE, because they have become worse. How can you believe it's not? It's worse, so much worse.
It's going to continue to get worse
Yeah.
too.
I mean, as we were discussing before we came on, they picked up the Des Moines superintendent of schools today. Apparently, he had something in his background of being a immigrant from Guyana that he was supposed to go back in 2024, but he's been there. He passed the verification. You know, the blue checks they give
Yeah.
for employment. So now they're saying that they found something in his background saying that he should have been deported in 24. Yeah, they went looking for that. They went looking for that because he's a high target. Also, he's basically told ICE you can't step into Des Moines schools. Okay, so they get 2 for 1. But the worst part of it is, again, because of Brett Kavanaugh, that man has no civil rights. He is
Right.
gone. They don't know where he's at. He's poof. They vanished him, and they won't answer questions. They didn't Mirandarize him. They didn't give him his due process. He didn't show up for a judge. He wasn't given a chance for bail. He is gone.
Well, what's
Period.
interesting, what happened was, if you look at the video of what's going on there now, keep in mind, Iowa's a red state. These people voted for Donald Trump. They come and they were clearly a big fan of ICE until they started taking away their immigrants for their farms and such. But on this instance, where they took this superintendent, apparently he was fairly well liked because there are hundreds and hundreds of people out protesting. People in a red state are protesting the deportation of an immigrant, a black man, no less. And this is what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for them to step on the toes of red states because they're going to react a little more violently than we do.
Do you know what the DHS statement was on it? Email from DHS. He was a criminal illegal. What the fuck? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing. That's what I go back to what we talked about with Tim Miller. Don't cry me of crocodile tears, motherfucker. This is my life now. My life.
Yeah.
I live every day. I was born in Los Angeles. I'm of Puerto Rican descent. I am dark skinned. Okay. My kids right now, they're at an Atlanta Braves game. Thank God they're lighter skinned. Okay. But my daughter
Yeah.
goes to work every day and I worry about that. My wife's last name is Latina, and I don't know, but she's a German kid, but they will question that. I
Yeah.
mean, that is our reality. In the state of Georgia, the police will cooperate with ICE. So the point is, don't talk your shit about policy and your locker rights and you're crying. Step up and talk about what really is going on because we could fight the policies, but the ICE has to be taken care of. Did you see that the video of that poor lady crying because they were taking her husband away after a court hearing? And she was getting in the face, and the officer, who was 2 times the size, just threw her against the wall. She wasn't threatening him. She was crying. Threw her against the wall.
Well, the
I
one I
mean,
saw, he threw her on the floor, and
yeah.
apparently that ICE officer has been relieved of his duties because it was
Oh,
on video.
really? He'll be
Yeah.
back somewhere else with a mask on.
Yeah,
They're
no
all
doubt.
fucking white supremacists. Let's bottom line it. Each one of these ICE agents take this job because normally they'd be doing it for free. Now they're getting paid to do this. And the
Yeah.
worst thing about it, Mike, and I said this in the video, and if people watching this, if you are black, explain to me why I am seeing a fucking flood of middle-aged black men as ICE agents. Okay? Middle-aged black men, some in their 56, who should know better what police do to you. And you're
We're
ICE
seeing
agents?
Well, clearly, we're seeing people of color in the ICE agents. We're obviously seeing white people,
I know we see
black people.
Latinos. They make me sick. Those people going down first. Mother.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
God.
see a lot of Hispanic folks with ICE
I
too, and I don't
know.
know if they're just desperate for money or they really feel like uh, hurting people and deporting people. I'm not sure what it is, but it's really interesting though. They talk these tough games. We're going into Chicago. Never went into Chicago. We're
Right.
going into Memphis. They haven't gone into Memphis. This is what I'm saying about Donald Trump. He says a lot of stuff. I'm going to bail out the farmers. He didn't really say he was going to bail out the farmers. He said, I'm thinking about doing that and using the tariff money. That usually tells me it's not going to happen with Donald
No.
Trump because he says a lot of shit, but it doesn't ever happen. He just conveniently forgets about it.
And so they're just going to, they're just, and that's the thing. He feeds these people what they want and they eat it up. Because let's bottom line it. The only reason they voted for that is because they didn't think it's going to come to them and they hate everyone. Hate
Right.
is the bottom line for MAGA. Hate is the bottom line for evangelicals, and the religious component. I'm sorry, you're not. There was a pastor did a video goes, "I'm not a Christian anymore," and a pastor, and he goes, "I can see it already." People say, "Why is the pastor saying he's Christian?" He goes, "Because you co-opted the name, and you're not
Right.
being Christians, and I can't call myself a Christian because everyone looks at me and goes, oh, you're one of them." No, we are not like that normally. We don't do that. We follow the true teachings of Jesus and love thy neighbor. But they perverted this for power and then they push it. And why is Will worked up? Because I'm worked up because like now I'm seeing this. It's either they're taking control or they just are so weak they're just doing anything they can. And it looks bad right now. I'm hoping it's the latter. I'm really hoping it's the latter. Because
Well,
I
I think
still think we're too
everything.
big to take control over everything.
No, we proved a point with Jimmy Kimmel and
Yeah.
Disney. I mean, it wasn't that they just beat Disney. They took them down in 72 hours. That's a pretty
Yes.
fucking amazing response. And if they're going to
Oh,
respond to something like that with something more dangerous, I mean, Jimmy
it's
Kimmel was like the third-rated talk show host,
right.
so he wasn't that important. It was how they did it that bothered them. And now, if they start, going after people, and people get angry about that, I expect we're going to see even bigger responses.
And here's the thing: it's not over yet. And
No,
it's not over because some Democratic leadership wants to go and grandstand with Bob Iger. No, no, leave him alone. Don't do what Republicans do, like because the Little Mermaid was black in the live version. No, don't do it. The shareholders are calling a meeting because it's not about what Bob Iger did, is what Bob Iger cost them. In addition to the embarrassment of the First Amendment rights, you cost our company $3.8 billion in fucking 72 hours and probably more because people are going to come back right away and they want answers. They want to know why you capitulating in something that you didn't have to capitulate for. They
yeah,
are not happy. And when the barbarians are at the gate, by the way, as shareholders, especially in Disney, heads roll. So
yeah,
he better figure something out because Michael Eisner popped up, who he replaced, and is looking for redemption. And the only way Eisner got messed up because he messed with Pixar and got fired
right.
because he thought he could do better in Pixar. But now he has stepped on. He's in. At least Iger was making money. This guy lost him $3.8 billion in 3 days.
Yeah.
Shareholders don't buy that shit. Money
No,
talks.
They aren't going
Period.
to take it. They ain't going to take it very kindly. And I don't know what you're talking about with the Democrats standing with Iger or
Oh,
something.
there were a couple of them saying they want to drag Iger in front of a subcommittee to talk
Oh,
about why he did it. Was he did the government lean on him? They want to make a show out of it. I get it, but it's a stupid thing to do, honestly, in my mind. It's
well,
not going to get you
we got
anywhere.
too many other things that we've got to do.
Exactly.
Let's pull Donald Trump. Let's pull people in the Republican Party
Yeah.
up. Yeah, Iger's going to take his beating without the Democrats having to deal with it. We're
Yeah.
not going to
That's what I'm
gain
saying.
anything from it.
Don't give them an excuse to look somewhere else.
No,
Let
no,
them handle. That's an eternal. That's gonna let them handle that shit. But
he
my
made
lord.
he made a $3 billion mistake, and that will more than likely be catastrophic for him. There's no room for saying, "Whoops, a
And
daisy, he
and the thing
fucked
about
up."
one thing you all had to remember with Sinclair and Nexstar's movement, the reason that they did it, and Sinclair too, they're looking to do mergers where there's this huge that they want to create one huge company that will control 80% of the of TV stations across the United States under one umbrella. 80%. I That's not competition. That's fucking monopoly.
Yeah, but thankfully, the whole idea of broadcast media, whether it be radio or TV, is a dying and fading
Yeah, it is a dying
situation.
field.
It's like me, like Netflix flicks trying to merge with Blockbuster. Who fucking cares?
No,
I mean,
they
nobody's
just yeah.
watching network TV anyway anymore.
And that's the thing, and I said that before. It's an old model. They keep writing it. That's why Sinclair capitulated because you don't have any footing. And the thing about it is, oh yeah, people didn't see it in those sense. Yeah, they waited the next day. They went to Hulu or YouTube. YouTube was like last time I heard 30 something million views. People watch it. They come,
Yeah.
and that's a smart thing to do. The point is, you're missing. You think you're doing something, you're not. And that's what we're dealing with. Thank Almighty God that these fascists are incompetent fascists. Thank
Yeah,
God.
thank goodness for
Um,
that.
the, the only good, even with the ICE thing, they still are incompetent fascists because they haven't hit really hard targets because they know what will happen. Unfortunately, little people are suffering as we talk about every day, like myself and other. Well, I haven't encountered, but the fear is there. But
Well,
you see, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike.
everybody's crying for Charlie Kirk because one guy dies. Sure, it's a sad thing for his family and all that, but we got people dying every day because they can't get health
Yep.
care. They can't get pharmaceuticals. They get shot in schools. They
Hmm.
get taken out and deported and put in detention camps and they die there. People are dying every day. This one guy doesn't matter. He didn't matter to me before he died. He doesn't matter now. And in the scheme of things, he's one guy in a tragic situation. Uh, but there's a lot of other people that they're just ignoring. So
Right.
fuck you.
Yeah, and it's like they keep. Here's the thing: they keep trying to. The more they try to make it more, it's just kind of flittering away because everyone's like, it's now in an echo chamber. It's
Yeah.
going away. They keep pushing, it's going away. One good thing is that Ryan Walters, the Oklahoma superintendent for schools in Oklahoma, resigned. Now he's saying he's resigned because he's going to join some anti-union company. So they're going after teachers union because teachers are a reason that schools are so bad. No, it's because people like you ruin them. But it's because actually, dude, you got caught with your porn on your computer at work. That's a fireable offense.
That's
You're
so
just
arrogant
trying to
and so stupid.
yeah, and that's the thing. Again, did you hear the story about Charlie Kirk's memorial that they almost crashed Grinder again at the
Yeah.
memorial? I mean, God, if you just would just, as one person put, look, the problem is that if you're so hateful because you hate yourself, just give it, just admit it. No one would the only people that would hate you are people who are devoted to their evangelical um, religion. But free yourself from it. I don't care. I really don't,
Yeah.
because that's your thing. But the problem is, the reason you're so angry all the time because you're suppressed. The one thing that I remember in 1984, why there were such strict rules against sex and sexuality, because it kept the population repressed and made them angry, easier to control. Sound
Yeah.
familiar?
Yeah.
I
Yeah. It's
mean,
true. I have a rule of thumb. I don't care about somebody else's sex life unless I'm having sex with them. Other than
mhm.
that, don't fucking care what you do. Long as
Yeah,
it's
and your what?
legal.
Yeah, as long as it's legal, and your wife has to be part of it, because anything else would be the
There,
end of
there, there,
all
you
things.
there, there you
Amen.
go.
Uh,
I was talking about creepy little guys in a closet. I got to bring up Mike Johnson.
oh, okay. I'm sorry. There were so many you could have brought out, but go
I
ahead.
know. Um, so Mike Johnson, we had this special election. This woman down in Arizona won. As soon as she gets seated, um, she's going to be the 218th signature on that discharge petition. And people at the White House and people in the Republican Party in Congress, and they're freaking the fuck out.
Yep.
So much so that Mike Johnson said, "Well, let's take some time off. Let's so we don't have so we." And he said, "We got to wait till the official finding." Now, when a Republican was seated recently, she was seated 24 hours after she was elected. But in this situation, we got to wait till we get all the facts. And they're talking about being out till next Wednesday, which is troubling because on September 30th, they want to be out till October 1st, but on September 30th is when the shutdown happens. So you, as Speaker of the House, are going to shut down the Republican side of Congress up to and after the shutdown.
Yes.
What's that tell you about the shutdown?
That this is a way to hide the Epstein files again. This is
Yeah.
his desperate. This is Trump's desperate attempt, because I was not down with the meeting with Trump, with Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, but apparently it has played in the hands of the Democrats, because Trump doesn't want to talk to them because he won't. They want things like Medicaid for people and stuff returned to the bill. I
Yeah.
mean, okay, which tells you right now, the American people can go fuck themselves, is what he told you. And he's willing to shut the government down. And he told them, don't cooperate. He's told Republicans, don't negotiate. Let them shut it down. We'll blame them. And then you have the head of the Heritage Foundation, that bald headed, creepy looking guy, Robert something, Vescott, whatever his name is. He's
Vought?
basically
Are you
saying,
talking about Vought?
yeah, Vaught, Robert, yeah, Vaught. He was out there in front of the Heritage Foundation. God, I swear, when this is over, ashes, that place is going to be ashes. I swear to God. Um, he was out there saying, okay, what we're going to do, because he's some high, we're just going to fire every federal employee then. Oh, okay. So no air traffic controllers, no airport screeners, nothing, right?
You
Just going
got
to
you
fire
got to
them all.
you got to understand
That
what's
makes
going on
sense,
here.
right?
This is typical of Donald Trump and any other bully. When they're caught in a corner and they want something and there doesn't seem to be a way out, they want to blame the Democrats for the shutdown. That's not going to work. Democrats are playing hardball at this point anyway. So Donald Trump says, well, we're going to do mass firings for the federal government. And they didn't do that for the Republicans. They did that for the Democrats so they could go, oh my God, they're going to fire all
Yeah, I
these people.
know.
Maybe we should just do what they want to do. No, this is
Don't
what you
do it.
need to do. You need
Hmm.
to let them shut it down. You've let them do everything else. So why not let them shut it down? And my feeling on this is you can't negotiate with them. You can't get them to come to reason. So the only real option, as sad as it may be, is let them burn the whole motherfucking thing
Yeah.
down. They're trying to bluff you. You need to
Yes,
call their bluff for once.
for once. And here's the thing: how can he negotiate when there's no Congress at the time to negotiate? He's
Exactly.
shutting Congress down till after the act happens. So whose fault is it? It's not the
Yeah.
Democrats. It's you, because you won't take a vote. You won't sit there and negotiate in good faith, because you won't fund good faith, because this thing with the Epstein files apparently is bad. And you heard, and you and I think we've done a video, you've done a video on it. The leaks from the White House is that they are in fucking panic mode.
Yeah.
To the point that Kash Patel, that Private Bounty is looking at Kash Patel going, "Why are you investigating me?" He's going, "Me? Not me." Does that guy look like Kash Patel? Look like the actor from Parks and Rec? He does, doesn't he? He kind of looks
Aziz
like him.
Ansari? Aziz Ansari?
Yes, he does,
Yeah.
and he acts like him a lot. No offense to Eon, I apologize, bro. No offense to
Here's
you,
the problem.
but he
Here's the
looks
problem.
like him and acts like him.
He acts like Aziz Ansari. Aziz Ansari is a comedic actor.
Yes.
Kash Patel is the head of the FBI. Now,
Yes.
what you're saying is that Kash Patel is acting like a comedic actor,
Right.
which is the problem.
Exactly.
It's well. I'll tell you how scared they are of this. They're worried about shutting down the government. They want to blame the Democrats, but they're willing to shit can that strategy just to not talk about the
Right.
Epstein things. So they're in a tight spot. They don't want to seat her right away. They're going to have to eventually. I don't know what the
Yes.
fuck they think. What's 4 days going to be? So they don't do that. They get a shutdown. They now try to blame the Democrats, but you can't blame the Democrats because you didn't show up.
Yes.
So they lose all around. This seems
This
to be a
is
common
desperate.
thread with these fucks. Yeah.
And the thing about it, the statement, someone leaked this statement. Trump asked, remember what they said? He said, "Why is everyone upset with the Epstein files? They don't understand what it was like at Palm Beach in the 90s. Oh, really, bro? So what are you saying?
Yeah.
You don't understand what Palm Beach was like in the 90s?
It was
What
in the
are
90s. I lived through the 90s, and I don't recall it being okay to abusing children. I don't know. Maybe I missed something. I wasn't in Palm Beach. Maybe it was different down there. But nonetheless, he's basically confessing to shit that's
Yes.
going on, and why he doesn't want to talk about it.
And I'm like, and apparently a whole bunch of names in there. I've hearing that some of the files have been left by the Epstein estate, talking about Peter Thiel, Elon Musk,
I got
all
some
the
names
usual
here.
criminals. Well, go ahead. Go for it.
The ones I heard, there were some documents released by the Epstein estate yesterday or today,
Mhm.
and we don't know all the details of the documents. I assume if it's juicy, we'll be hearing about some of it. But there were several names mentioned, and I want you to take note of these names. First of all, Prince Andrew. No one's surprised about that creepy fuck being on that list. There was Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon's on that list.
Ooh.
Bill Gates is on that list.
Okay,
Not surprising. We kind of knew he was there. Peter Thiel, as you pointed out.
Oh, you tech
and,
bros.
and Elon Musk. A good percentage of those people were standing behind Donald Trump when he was inaugurated. Isn't that interesting? So these are friends of Donald Trump. Elon Musk, it even looked like he had a scheduled trip to the island. And this is Donald Trump's buddy. So here, you can say you don't know Jeffrey Epstein, but you know all these guys. You're really tight with all these guys. What are the odds that you don't know Jeffrey Epstein and that you're on the list anyway? It's, whether they release the Epstein files or not, and I'm not convinced they will, they'll do everything to stop it. Well, first of all, the discharge thing, I don't think the big fear by getting that discharge petition out and getting the vote on the floor, I don't think the issue, what they're afraid of yet, is releasing the files. You know what they're afraid of? They're afraid of the vote, because then they're going to have to put their name in public. Do I want the files open? Do I not want the files open? And if I do not want the files open, that's going to be questioned pretty heavily around 2026 and in town hall meetings. So they are scared to death about even having to take the vote. Even if it doesn't pass, all those people that voted against it are going to have to answer some questions because they made the commitment that they want to hide Jeffrey Epstein's
Yeah,
files.
and it's all about this is human trafficking. You understand they trafficked in young girls for sexual preference, for sexuality, to use
Yeah,
them as sex toys. They
right.
were disposable. I mean, there again. I'm sorry, it's a movie, but in the movie Black Widow, the one guy who's the evil guy, he goes, I built this whole network based on the one thing that people don't want around, but have plenty of girls, unwanted girls. And I mean, it's a chilling statement because if you put it in this perspective, that's what they did. And these rich white guys, majority of them, do this not because of the sexuality, because it's power.
Yeah.
They don't look at those women. The sex is secondary to I can make them do what I want. They are disposable. They're nothing that's no different than toilet paper I use to them. They
I
don't
think
see them as human beings.
I was talking to Ed about this, and I think over and above the sexual assault, sexual abuse, they open up these files, it's going to be a Pandora's box because there's so much more tied to this. When we're talking $1.5 billion involved, there are probably we're going to probably find not only there are people who are abusing young girls, but there are people recruiting these young girls other than Ghislaine Maxwell. A lot of people maybe, I mean, just think of this. If you happen to be a guy who loves beautiful women and maybe owns a pageant or two, has Mar-a-Lago where you have 15-year-old girls working as towel girls, who knows? You might be a feeder fucking program for Jeffrey Epstein because there would be money in it for them.
That's sick. And here's the thing: the statute of limitations, I think, is gone, but the stigma is what we want. The stigma the stink will never leave you.
We
I don't
want the
care who you
exposure.
are. Yeah, the exposure, the stink will never leave you. Peter Thiel, none of your billions of dollars is going to save your ass for that. Same for Elon Musk. If it's Bill Clinton, everyone want to go and. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the thing. We don't. The people that care are the people who know that this will kill them politically overall. And if
And personally,
going back, yeah, and going back to what I said before about the perception that Democrats are dropping the ball. If that's true, why of the 67 um, people not running for Congress again, the vast majority are Republicans, including
it's
like
certainly
Jody Earls.
telling.
And
Yeah.
so you tell me what that bullshit is. Because here's the other thing. One of the litmus tests for a lot of people running for the Senate, Democratic size, is what is your position of Chuck Schumer remaining as leader of the party in the Senate? And if the answer is yes, you are a bad candidate. People the candidates are saying, if I'm elected to the Senate, the first thing I'm going to do is make sure Chuck Schumer is not the leader of the Senate,
Right.
be a minority leader or majority leader. That's telling you something within the Democratic Party itself, that they see the writing, they see what's going on. And if you see a lot of the Democratic candidates, they are not typical. They are fiery. They are ready to go to war. They're ready to fight. They're ready to tell the story that you're getting screwed. Do not let them gaslight you. That includes the party. Donors hate that. That's the thing. Schumer's worried about the donors. The other people worrying about the American people. And Schumer is becoming a litmus test for these candidates saying, yeah, you vote for me, that man's out. We're going to get
Yeah.
someone who's going to fight tooth and nail. So that's a good thing to see. But right now, we're kind of stuck with him. And as your example, I'm concerned that this guy will roll over because he doesn't, if they start saying, I'm going to fire everyone. He's the guy that, literally, this is a protection racket thing. And he's the one that's going to hand you the envelope of money.
Yeah.
You know,
You know, I've noticed something. I've noticed a pattern of things, and I hope the Democrats can recognize this. If you ever see an interview like with Gavin Newsom talking to Charlie Kirk or
Yes.
other people interacting with Trump LaFox, if they try to play nicey nice and if they try to find some common ground, those people get hammered by the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
The people they like are the people that are going to fight, like Gavin
Mm-hmm.
Newsom now, or like anybody else going after Donald Trump or the Republicans. So the Democrats have to understand you're going to have to step outside your norm as a party. You're going to need some attack dogs in this party
Yes.
if you hope to win anything because people are tired of getting their asses kicked and being embarrassed. They need fighters on the Democratic side. And if that's not your style, then move away and let somebody who can do it do it.
And the problem is with Democrats is that it's not about policy, okay? It's about having people relate to your policy to explain to them how it works. Trump sold his grift. I will fix everything. Don't worry about it. Okay,
Yeah,
I got you. And meanwhile, get rid of all those nasty people you like too. Don't like.
right.
Okay. But the problem is that when you talk when you try to tell people, I work in a complex business. I have to explain to people a system that they just buy into because they don't understand it. But in
Right.
order to sell the product, I have to explain it in a way that's not technical to them. And the one thing I always do, and is that I explain something, and the last sentence I say is, "Does that make sense to you?" Because that's the problem with the Democrats. They don't. A lot of them. They don't. They explain all this stuff, and people go, "It's like Bueller, Bueller."
Yeah.
I mean, they don't what you're supposed to you say something and go. Then your next thing is, "Does that make sense to you? Do you get it? I don't get it. Great. Let me help you to figure it out why this benefits you." That's the problem with a lot of Democrats still, especially those in Washington D.C. because they live in a fucking bubble. The problem we have right now on both sides of the aisle is that they live in this bubble. Now, the bubble has been turned into a fucked up reality show with a
Right.
golden palace, a club, an exclusive club in the White House called the Rose Club Garden, that they're using my money to feed these elites. By the way, you keep doing that, and what's the name? Sean, the Secretary of Transportation, was
Yeah.
there recently, and he was just gushing about the place. That's my money you're spent. And what is it about authoritarian governments being going back to the French Revolution, the Russian aristocrats, the even during the Soviet Union, the Politburo, the head politicians who always
Right.
had big parties and they always showed off the rich and they always showed to the people, we do more than you do because we have your money. What
Right.
happens to you in the end? You keep doing that and then you end up at the end of the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution, and then what happened when Russia turned on the Soviets. You don't this idea that showing other people living off you is beneficial to you is insane. I mean, I saw a picture of the White House. It's gross. The Oval Office now. It's
Yeah. It's
gross.
ridiculous.
It's tacky.
It's mid-century pimp. But if these oligarchs and these wealthy people don't believe that the citizenry of this country will fight back, all you have to do
Yeah,
is give Disney a call. They got
right.
spanked. They were as surprised as anybody else at how bad they got hit in how short a time. So if we can do that to Disney, just imagine what we can do with some other
I mean,
situation.
people are talking about general strikes and all that. My concern is that right now they let the genie out the bottle with the authoritarian police departments. It's kind of out of control, and I think the only thing that's going to stop it is basically places is doing something egregious, like I said before. But again, it's all soft targets. They're picking on people that won't fight back. Although one guy in Los Angeles who has owned a car wash who was abused, who was thrown to ice on the ground because they were raiding his property and goes, "Where's your warrant? Where's your warrant?" And they jumped him and just basically stomped on him, is suing ICE for $50 million.
Right.
Because he's an American citizen. B, you're raiding my place. I need warrants. Why are you in here? What's your probable cause? And that's it. The Constitution has been pissed on and then literally supported by the Supreme Court. The first Monday in October is coming up. And if you think it's a shit show during the summer, you ain't seen nothing yet. They're back in action. The 6. These people are not our friends. They have decided that anything that works for Trump is good for them. They don't care. They don't read the Constitution. They read what benefits them.
Right.
And that's wrong. But
you know, I think a strategy we might want to consider is everybody talked about the general strike, and that's pretty big. And whether that would work or not, I don't know. But like I said, we did what happened to Disney. Why don't we take a page from Donald Trump's strategy book? Instead of trying to take on the whole thing, make examples of people like Disney. Now, maybe pick out somebody else and bring them to their knees. And what's going to happen is all those people that are doing things similar to the guys that we just brought to their knees, they're going to think twice about it. We don't have to tear the whole thing down. We just have to intimidate them. And there was a certain amount of intimidation created by taking Disney down in 72 hours. There's a lot of people who are going to think twice before they start pulling people off the air.
Yeah, and that also shows those who capitulated what a bunch of cowards you were. You could have held out. You just didn't have the cojones to do that. All right. You didn't. You just went and rolled over because that was easy for you. You got rid of Joe Reed. You got rid of Mahdi Hassan. You threw Matt Dodd under the bus. You just did that because it was easier than fighting. You wanted people like Joe Scarborough to go kiss his ass. You want everything to be fine. You want everything to be okay. We're just going to play it. But meanwhile, they get away with shit. This is, again, 1984 Ministry of Information. It's all misinformation. You're playing their game. You want to be relevant in a world. The only way of relevance is to fight back. That's why independent media has gone crazy. Midas touching it, and you can't touch them because they don't need an FCC. You don't need an FCC license to do a podcast. You just need to put it up.
Well, and that's what I was talking to Ed about. If you want to own a television station or a radio station, there's a lot of regulations, there's a lot of licensing, and it's very expensive. And it was the way to go because that's where everybody got their media from. Well, that's not the case anymore. If I'm going to start a media outlet, I'm going to do what Midas Touch does.
Right.
They don't have a license. They aren't paying huge fees to do what they do to the government. And this is what's troubling them. They controlled the media for so long, and now the media is becoming irrelevant because people have another source that they can go to, meaning the internet.
Yeah, and that's going to be, I don't know how they can, unless you're going to shut the internet down, but if you do that, you might as well shut down all commerce.
Yeah.
You don't understand how tied we are now to the internet, what we do over the phone, how much money we spend digitally.
Right.
So that's not an option. It's not an option. You're going to shut YouTube down? Waiting.
Probably not.
That's insane. And it comes back. They're testing the waters for things they're doing. And you had brought it up. I had brought it up recently too. When I look into my email, and I get the Washington Post email. I don't get the Washington Post because I can't justify spending money to get pissed off every day. I can do that just watching YouTube. But the headline was, Pete Hegseth calls all the commanders in the world to come to Virginia for a meeting. What the hell? You know how much that's going to cost us? Go ahead. Oh, yeah, I'm getting there.
hear why he said
Well,
he's doing it? It's a
it's
lie,
like
but
I know it, but he's going to bring 800 commanders who have more important things to do than to show up at your beck and call. I had one guy comment to my TikTok video about it, going, "Well, he's the CEO; he can do it." No, he's not the fucking CEO. This is not a business. He's the Secretary of Defense in charge of military security of the United States, and he's calling 800 commanders away from their command post to a meeting because he wants to talk about a speech about warrior ethos. What the
a rah
fuck is
rah.
warrior ethos? What is
You want to
that?
make sure you're tough enough. You want to make sure you're
This
tough
is
enough, and you know we're going to go kick people's asses all the
li-
time.
li-
These people have been generals for 30 years. You really
yes.
think you're going to tell them something?
That's the thing about this man commanded a company, I think, and did a shitty job at it. The only
Yeah.
reason he's their boss is because he was a kiss ass to Donald Trump and was a face on Fox News and talked shit. So he gave him the job, and the people in Congress, some Democrats too, let him go. You dumbasses.
Yeah.
But you're going to tell seasoned veterans who rose up through the ranks what it is to be a soldier. Are you kidding me? Well, does that man needs his ego stroked that much to
Well,
spend?
see,
You know how much money? How much is that going to cost us
a
to
lot
do this?
because they got advisors and they got to be put up and they've got to be fed and they've got to do all this stuff. It's going to be ridiculously priced. And, there's a lot of people worried about it. Are we going to go into a war? Is he going to decapitate the military? What's he going to do? And I would say, based on history, the odds are it's going to be something stupid and they'll fuck it up. That's basically
Because
what we've seen them do in the
and
past.
the thing about it is he trying to show? Because my brother worked when young. He worked as a defense contractor at Edwards Air Force Base. Okay, doing
Hmm.
some electronic warfare stuff. And he one morning we were talking, and he said, "Yeah, I got to get there early." He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Why?" Because a general from Washington show up, and we got to look good. Okay,
Right.
you're putting 800 flag officers together. Do you know how much ego is there? That is
Yeah.
ridiculous amount of ego. And you want
Yeah.
to out ego these guys? Oh, that's just, I mean, one person referred to it as the general Squid Games. I mean, you guys, he has no idea. This is a performance. Now, if you walk in there and tell these guys, hey, you need to sign a loyalty pact to Trump, superseding your loyalty, your oath to the Constitution, that's going to be bad. That's going to
Yeah.
be really bad
Well,
because
that's one of the things I
uh,
was wondering about this. We keep wondering when there's going to be a red line for the military about going against the Constitution and serving a guy, which is the exact opposite of what they're supposed to do. And people keep saying, well, if you go this far, the military might push back. And my hopes are that when you call 800 generals in from all over the world into one spot, I'm hoping that's the red line because, first of all,
yes.
it's stupid. Second of all, who knows what they're going to do? And is this the point the military says, fuck this? You can't keep messing with the Constitution like that. We're pushing back.
I mean, and one of the reasons I was thinking, why do you bring them? I mean, we're talking on Zoom right now. I mean, you
Yeah,
have that. You have even better, more secure teleconferencing. Well, you used to. I don't know what the fuck they use in the White in Pentagon now when they're this idiot. Um, but you could have had this discussion, or you could have had this is the new criteria for whatever. You can email that to people. And I'm thinking, why would you do that? You're doing that because if it's a loyalty check, you don't want them in their commands. But
right.
the problem I'm thinking, your second in command, unless he's been co-opted by MAGA, is not going to cooperate either. Because most of those guys handpick their second in commands and they trust them. So this is like it's one more thing about this administration that we have. Why? And it's looking more and more that Pete Hegseth needs his ego stroked at our expense.
Or
I hope
Donald
that's
Trump
all
or
it
a
is.
combination. Well, there was a story that came out yesterday or today that said a leak came out of the White House that they're
Oh,
looking at the
shocking, a leak.
possibility. Yeah, but they're looking at the possibility of doing strikes in Venezuela to try to get the drug cartel people.
So you called 800 commanders to do this? That's
Yeah,
not half of them. It's not even going to deal with that command.
now I
Then
don't
what?
know if they
Then
did
what are you going to do?
call them
Bomb
because of
Caracas?
this. Well, yeah, they get the fishing boats, and now they're talking about going into Venezuela. Understand this: Donald Trump is flailing. He's trying to do anything to catch traction and to get people on his side again. None of it's going to work, but unfortunately, by the time he gets done,
Hmm.
it's going to be a catastrophe. It's going to be destruction like you don't
Oh,
believe because Donald
and
Trump doesn't know what to do.
meanwhile, in Alaska, we've had 2 excursions within a week of the Alaskan Defense Zone, where we had to scramble aircraft against Russian bombers.
Right.
Okay, 2 of them. We had excursions in Poland. We've had excursions into Copenhagen Airport by Russian drones. Those Holland is not happy.
No.
NATO is not happy. He's pushing the envelope, and you saw that NATO's. They're basically talking about we're next aircraft, Russian aircraft that cross our space. We're going to shoot them down if they do not capitulate or get out.
Right.
And what is the Russian ambassador to the UN said? Then that's war. You
Right.
really want a war? Does he really want a war with NATO?
No,
Does he
he
really
doesn't
want
want
a
a war.
full blown
He
war?
He's just doing what Donald Trump does because he's the same personality. He's acting tough. He's trying to be the bully. He's bluffing in hopes that you give in. To be honest with you, Russia at this point doesn't need, they can't handle Ukraine. Do you think they're going to handle 30 NATO countries? I don't think
I mean,
so.
no. I mean, the point is, it's like what, you shoot down. Then what are you going to do? I mean, are you going to start? What are you going to do? Is it going to? Is he crazy enough to go ahead and go? You know, and go to the next step? I don't think so. Does he really think he can win back the Baltics from NATO? I don't. Right now, you can't even go over Ukraine. The Ukrainians are still fighting you tooth and nail. And the only thing you have against that keeps everyone at bay is, yes, nuclear weapons. And you're crazy enough to do it. And the point is that while we're fucking around with egos, this shit is happening.
Right.
And I have to ask the military and those military members out there, isn't that kind of embarrassing for you?
You would
That's
think.
embarrassing. Because before January 20th, American military was it. No one fucked with it under Biden. Do you think Putin would have done this with Biden? Hell
Hell
no.
no.
Hell no. But he'll do it with Trump because Trump he has no idea what's going on. And he's got the Secretary of Defense is just lost. This is all performative. He thinks he's still doing his 60-second piece on Fox.
Right.
And this is another thing. And can we think? Here's the thing, and people are going, "Well, you're paranoid. Why do you think they would do it loyalty oath?" I don't know. Look at these idiots. They're crazy enough to try. They're
Well,
crazy enough to try.
not only that, they have demanded
Yes.
loyalty oaths before. So it's not like it's some crazy idea. This is what they've done to people in Congress. This is what they've done to people in the cabinet. This is what they've done to people in the administration. The idea of bringing them in to give a loyalty oath wouldn't surprise me. I don't know why they would do it altogether. I mean, the idea of maybe decapitating the and firing everybody is
Who's
a
it going to benefit?
possibility.
Who's going to benefit? Our enemies. Trust me,
Yeah.
the Chinese are just watching, going, as the old military saying goes, if your enemy is doing something to mess themselves up, do not interfere with it.
Right.
Chinese
Exactly.
aren't doing. The Chinese aren't even rattling sabers like they used to do with Biden. They're just sitting there going, literally just watching it because everyone's running to them, be going, I can't deal with this bullshit anymore.
Well,
I mean, it's crazy. It's no one sees this, and they think we're strong.
everything that Russia and China has said that they want to do to the United States by breaking them down from the inside, as opposed to a war, because a war with nuclear weapons would be crazy for anybody to get into. But to get into the country and break us down, that's what they've always wanted to do, get us from the inside. Now they don't even have to. They just have to sit back with their thumbs in their ass, watch Donald Trump do it. And
And
they're
well, it's
fucking laughing their ass off at about it.
not thumbs in their ass. They're just celebrating. They're
Yeah.
just sitting there watching it because they just sit there waiting and they wait and they do the opportune reach out afterwards. Hey, I heard what happened. Do you need some help? They're not even being threatening anymore. They don't
No.
have to be because they can see it. And then after that UN speech, my God, enough with the escalator. Okay. I am fat. I have bad knees. I'd be a little pissy having to climb up that escalator. Totally get it. But the idea that we're going to bomb the UN or find someone else and hang them or lynch them because your fat ass had to climb up the stairs and it turned out to be one of your own people that did it, but he won't admit to it. And then the teleprompter, which your people controlled. Oh, by the way, Donald, didn't you always say that you never used teleprompter for a speech and those who did were weak? Just
Yeah.
bringing that up. And see, this grievance shit, and then that speech was when diplomats are going, this man is crazy. We're done in this world. And the worst thing about it, they will never trust us for decades because
True.
we elected this. We approved this as a populace.
Well,
And the
to show you
majority of
how
us, go ahead.
to show you how
Sorry.
unserious they are, is that Pam Bondi is literally looking at doing an investigation on the escalator gate, the teleprompter gate, and the sound system was glitching out. So they need to do an investigation because they think this was an attack. Really? You got all this shit going on, and that's the best you can worry about right now? For fuck's sake.
Oh my God. I mean, it's bad enough that Kash Patel is showing evidence on Twitter after that anti-ICE sniping. By the way, did he hit an ICE agent? No, he killed 2 detainees and wounded 1. Doesn't sound like much of an attack on ICE to me.
No,
And
they want
it,
so bad for it to be, though.
but and they're not serious people. And now the
No.
James Comey thing coming down. Look, that's a mess. Okay, but when your hand-picked prosecutor goes in there and goes, yeah, we got nothing, and he's been a prosecutor for years with the DOJ, although he's Republican, although he leans MAGA, he's going, yeah, we got nothing. I can't do this. Same thing with Letitia James. We got nothing. Can't go to court with this. What do? You put your own lawyer in there who's used to do what? Who knows? And the first thing that takes it to the grand jury, and as the old saying goes, a prosecutor can get a ham sandwich indicted with
Right.
a grand jury.
Right.
And they got an indictment, James Comey, for lying to Congress 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I don't remember
5 years
because
ago. 5 years
they had
ago.
to do it before the September 30th ran out, which was
Right.
the thing.
The
And
statute
already,
of limitations.
and also Trump is freaked out because, okay, it landed in front of a federal judge who was appointed by Biden. Okay, that ain't good. And the thing about it is, even DOJ people were sending notes to Pam Bondi and saying, you can't go to court with this. We will get humiliated in court. There's nothing there. Now, let me make this clear. James Comey, to me, is a lying piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's a two-timer who was looking to make his own bones over Hillary Clinton. But I will give him credit for this. When Trump came to him and basically told him, kneel before Zod, he said no. And that's why he lost his job.
Right.
because he wanted him to do what Kash Patel and Pam Bondi were doing now. And even though he made the biggest error in his life and tried to defend it, or maybe he thought it was a good thing, at least at that moment, he had enough ethics. And that's why Trump's been after him because he told him no.
Well, and
And
this
here
whole
we
thing
are.
may not even make it to trial
Oh,
because
God, no.
and what they're going to say is they're going to say, well, he's weaponizing this. This is a political attack. And they're going to say, no, it isn't. And then they're going to pull up all the Truth Social posts that Donald Trump posted that prove exactly. I mean, this motherfucker implicates himself in this
Yeah,
stuff. He fucks himself over before he even gets in the mess. He's got
no.
there's no case. And then he fucks it up by proving the point that the defense attorneys are going to make. It may not even make it to trial and he'll be embarrassed and then he'll move on to the next one because he said there's going to be more that he's going to do this
Yes,
to. Please do, motherfucker. You keep
go
failing.
ahead.
You keep looking stupid.
I mean, he even said in that post, attack the judge. Oh, okay. That worked for you before, didn't it? No.
Yeah.
I mean, and here's more competency rolling on. And the economy, incompetency. I keep hearing reports that consumer spending's up. And they're saying, oh, that's a good thing for the economy. Yeah, but consumer spending was up in that quarter before tariffs came in and people were loading up on their supplies
Right.
before the
Right.
tariffs came in. And then Trump, because he got a court to say to stay the tariffs, now it's going to the Supreme Court for oral arguments, which basically saying we're going to let him do what he wants. That's the way that
Right.
usually works. He just put a whole bunch of tariffs out the other day on trucks and bathroom vanities. What the fuck? I
Well,
mean,
the one that's going to have some impact though is he put 100% tariff on pharmaceuticals coming from overseas.
we don't make that many drugs here in the United States. This is
Exactly.
insane. And again, and the reason the sticking point for the budget is because he doesn't want to give in on Medicaid. But they're going to raise the price. I thought he said that drugs were 1,000% cheaper. I mean,
Yeah.
this is like, and the MAGA people just are angry about everything they can be angry about. If it isn't Charlie Kirk, it's the escalator. It's Jimmy Kimmel. It's everything but what they should get mad about. I mean, he told you he was going to lower everything. Nothing's lower. Nothing is working. People are losing jobs. Oh, by the way, Brian Kemp update on the Hyundai plant.
Oh, great.
Brian Kemp's response to the Hyundai plant, and if you said I did do my video on it, his response was, "I support the raid because they should have had the right visas." Okay, Brian, I know you're still trying to run that fine line between getting Trump off your back and still be pro business, but you don't say that.
No.
He is now in Korea and Japan, literally begging Hyundai not to leave. Hyundai has not made a decision whether they're going to stay back. Hyundai, 300 of their employees were picked up by ICE and disappeared until they forced them to bring them out. And the
Right.
stories that have been told by those guys are horrific because those private prisoners treated them like the prisons treated them like subhumans.
Right.
And they knew these visas. Here's the thing, these visas were fine under any other contract. It wasn't a big deal. It's something you do all the time. Okay, we'll just do this. It's a cheap visa. They're only going to be here so much. We'll let it slide. But not under these guys. Now he added $2,000 to HB, $1,000, was it one or two, to HB1 visas, and to even better with the World Cup coming up next year, added $250 bond that if you come to the United States on a tourist visa or visitor visa, you have to put up that bond. And if you're not out by the time you would be, not only will you lose the bond, you get arrested. Why would you come to the United States anyway for your games now?
The
Considering a lot of
H-1B
those countries are on the shit list for
the
him.
H-1B visas are supposed to be for technological people that they need to
Mm-hmm.
come in here and do work that Americans couldn't possibly do. Now you're talking about 1 or 2,000. I heard that he's suggesting that it cost $100,000
Uh,
for the H1B visa, which is going to piss off the likes
yes,
of Bezos and Elon Musk and
right.
all those people. It's going to cost them a lot of money. I mean, it's just everybody talks about one little thing that's going to take Donald Trump down. It's all of it together
Yeah.
because he's destroying everything. He's making poor
He's,
choices. He thinks he's smart, and it's all going to fail.
I mean, the madness never stops, and people follow it. We can talk about the acetaminophen and the
Yeah.
Tylenol thing. I mean, that's what. Why are you involved in that? There's nothing to be involved in. Telling pregnant women not to take acetaminophen. Okay, you can't say acetaminophen, so you have to say Tylenol, the brand name. I don't know who owns the brand name of Tylenol, but I'd be looking to sue Robert F. Kennedy to his fucking top of his jeans. Okay, because there, that's not none of it is true, and the reason that pregnant women do that is because it does cut down on fever and pain. It's the only safe thing they can use. You can't give them codeines for
But
pain.
here's the thing that they have to address is I heard a little factoid that says autism was discovered in humans 10 years before Tylenol was even invented. So
No,
what was going on the 10 years previously?
I mean the study. That's the thing. The study probably saw that, and anyone that now we're done. There is no there. This is just another manufactured by Robert F. Kennedy, who has decided that autism is his thing, and he wants to free the world from the scourge of autism. I don't get it. And this is a man again, the man running our health system, our important vaccine system, our important research system again to keep us safe from possible diseases and pandemics was a goddamn heroin addict.
Yeah.
Okay? A fucking
Yeah, for
heroin
14
addict.
years. 14 years. Now, people are being talked to within the administration about this thing with Tylenol. And you know how they're responding to that? They're not saying Donald Trump was wrong or RFK Jr. was wrong. They're not saying that. They're saying, we think you should just do what your doctors tell you. Oh, God forbid we do what the doctors tell us.
That's
They
not what he
can't say
said.
don't take Tylenol because they know they're going to get sued and they're going to be found out to be wrong. So they let RFK Jr. and Donald Trump do whatever the fuck they want, and they basically say don't listen to them, do what the doctor tells you. Why are
But
we fucking doing this? It's
but
just
but
ridiculous.
but right now RFK is saying don't follow your doctors because they just do big pharma. I mean, he's insane. He's literally, and people again will do the wrong thing because they don't want. Because I don't know, I don't get it. I mean, you listen to your doctor. Doctors for years were not the best people. Sometimes, I mean,
No,
they did prescribe greenies as diet pills for women for years. My mom had them, the little green pills. I mean,
mother's little
that's why the
helper.
Mother's Little Helper, Valium. Yes, we understood that. But they also changed as ethics got better. But there's a sickness going around right now with a lot of doctors. I was looking this up real quick. The MAGA dentist. Have you heard this story? It is all
No.
over. Okay. Her name is Harleen let me find her here. Dr. Harleen Grewal. She's an immigrant. She's uh, a pediatric dentist in Santa Clarita, California. My old neck of the woods. I used to live in Palmdale, Lancaster. It's one of the biggest suburbs just outside the San Fernando Valley. Okay,
Okay.
huge place. She's an unbelievable Trump supporter. She's a fanatic. Okay, and she has a Trump hat that she wears in the office, and she's got pictures of Trump and everything in the office. She said on TikTok that if she saw her patients or the parents of her patients get a little like squirmy because she's like touting Trump in front of them, she would turn down their their gas so there'd be a little more discomfort, or give them less medication so they could feel it a little, the pain.
Wow.
Okay, this woman has already been investigated by the state of California, has kept her license. But her response to it is, this is another TikTok response was, hey, I'm just joking. Jimmy Kimmel can joke. Why can't I joke?
Because you're a
Lady,
dentist.
exactly. And her husband, this gets better, who is another Trump supporter. He's a fucking neurosurgeon. Okay, here's the point, okay? There are certain things that you dedicate yourself as a professional that rise above everything else. Okay.
Right.
I'm talking about pastors, doctors, professionals, federal employees. You swear an oath to a lot of stuff, such as a doctor. And the most important one is the Hippocratic Oath. Do no
Right.
harm. Above everything else, people, even in war, if there's the enemy is in, you still, as a medic, you will, or a doctor, you will treat them because they're a human being above all.
Right.
This woman has reduced her patients into political stunts, and she thinks she's okay with it. The backlash is huge. She doesn't get it. She still thinks she's going to come out ahead. She's not. Also, lady, you're an immigrant. You look like me, although you are Indian.
Right.
They don't want you. They don't like you. They don't want you around. And if someone called ICE in your office, you'll have a lot to explain. I'm being honest here. I'm not being. That's the thing. They don't want us. And you support Trump, and if you're a person of color or Latino and you support Trump, they don't want you. You're just a foil. You're just a joke to them, and you will be gone too. But see, that's how twisted we become. The lack of empathy for everything has become the feature in the United States now.
Here's
We
what
used
I
to
don't
care about
understand,
shit.
though.
Mm-hmm.
You can blame her and all this stuff, but if you got a woman wearing a MAGA hat talking MAGA shit and you're against MAGA, why do you go there more than once?
Oh, more likely not. More likely not. She hit because she doesn't really. She says she doesn't talk about it. She just wears stuff, and if she feels they're uncomfortable, then she'll punish them for not supposedly giving proper due to the God King in Washington.
If I saw
That's
somebody
it.
wearing if I saw somebody wearing a MAGA hat, I wouldn't let them serve me water. I don't
I
trust
know.
them. I would not deal with them. If I walk into a dental office and I've got severe pain in my mouth and I see a woman with a MAGA hat, I'm going to find another dentist, regardless of
Yeah.
how painful it is. It's just, why
Yeah.
would you go in there? I mean, these
Yeah.
people, you know, what they do with Donald Trump with all these pictures on the walls, what it reminds me of when I was a little kid and I lived in a neighborhood. Half the kids were Lutheran, half the kids were Catholic. And if you went into the Catholic kids' homes, they had pictures of the Pope and
Mm-hmm.
all the religious people like that. That's what it reminds me of, but it's with Donald Trump. I can see it a little more with the Pope because that's your guy, but everybody's putting up Donald Trump and he's doing these horrific things. And it's like you're subsidizing or supporting these horrible things he's doing to
Well,
people.
they
And if you
are,
do that, you're a horrible person too.
which comes back to what we just to start this. We started with Tim Miller and their forgiveness.
Yeah.
We can't forgive you. There
No.
is no reaching across the aisle because you people have literally supported all this. You wanted this. And for him to break that down as to a political argument, it's not a political argument anymore. There is no policy that excuses what's going on with ICE or what Trump has done to the Constitution. No, there is no political solution for this.
If
It's
we
got to end. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
if we talked about different sides of politics and you called me a libtard, I could probably get over that and forgive you. But when you look at the things that they've done, the people they've hurt, what they've done to this country, I'm sorry if I'm intolerant, but they're irredeemable. You can't trust them. Even if they all of a sudden said, "Oh, I'm nice now," I still don't trust you. And I don't like you. I don't like what you did. You put people through trouble and turmoil for your benefit, and you didn't even accomplish that because you're too
Yeah.
fucking stupid.
There's again, yeah, I'm the movie guy, whatever. But I remember there was a movie with James Gardner and Sally Field. The title slips my mind, but he was a small town pharmacist, and she had moved in after a divorce to try to raise horses or do a horse farm. She was having issues, and she came in because her son was working for her because he needed the extra money, and she was talking about, can you lend me some money? Because right now the bank won't lend her money for her farm because she's a woman on her own. Hi,
Right.
remember those days, ladies?
Not that long
Okay,
ago.
not long ago. And he said he pulls out a book and he starts showing to people who he is basically giving free medication to help them out. Because, like, one old lady comes in and she goes, "No, don't worry about it." And he puts a note because she knows he can't afford it. She can't afford the medication. And he goes through all this. And she looks at him. She goes, I have an uncle in Texas who say you're a bleeding heart. And he leans forward and goes, "At least I have one."
Yeah.
And I thought that was profound because his point was that means nothing to me in the whole business, but those people are safe and happy. That's empathy to the core, the
Yeah.
biggest thing. And that is James Gardner's character, who is a man. Again, a man is not someone who hurts other people. A man is someone who uplifts someone. It's weird because for some reason, all these years, I've been watching old episodes of Gunsmoke consistently. I'd never really seen the old show, and I was really enjoying it now. But I'm watching the character of Matt Dillon, okay?
Yeah.
And Matt Dillon is cowboy and all that. But the one thing about the show is that he's real into the law, but he's not going to put up with people's bullshit against somebody else. Be you woman, be you Indian, be you a stranger.
Right.
He will stand up for people regardless. And if you don't like it, you'll have to deal with him. And like I watch these episodes every time, and it's the same thing. Don't pick on someone your own underneath you. He doesn't tolerate that, and he's not bad to anyone. He's not. He's not like going looking for trouble. But if you have trouble, he will deal with it. And the point being is, they keep saying, "What's a man? How do you be a man?" That's being a man.
Yeah.
Now, without the 6-shooter and having, they talk about John Wick's kill count. I would love to see what Matt Dillon's kill count would have been over the 20 years the show was on. But the
Yeah.
point being is, without the 6-shooter, that's what a man does.
Right.
You don't, you protect your own, you don't let people get with bullshit, and you don't create it. And that's the thing. In this society right now, somehow manhood is associated with not empathetic. I know
Yeah.
what that speech he's going to give to all these generals is not thinking about the American people or ethics or your command or people under your command. It's going to be some weird ass thing about being important and showing who's boss. This shit is old now. And I think a lot of people are getting tired of it. And it's time to, and again, I am not letting you off the hook if you come to me and going, well, they're okay. No, they're not okay. They're not okay.
No.
And they're not okay. If you voted for Trump and if you renounce it, fine. I want to see you vote right. But trust me, you're never getting invited to the barbecue because I don't know what
Exactly.
you're going to do with the food. I
Yeah.
can't trust
Exactly.
you.
Now
And it's a sad thing. I know.
we're coming to the end here, and I wanted to bring something up because this just
Mhm.
came up tonight. It
Oh
says
God,
that
no.
Trump is asking the Supreme Court to decide on whether he can end birthright citizenship. That's going to be interesting to see what they do with that
How
because it's
can he?
clearly in the Constitution.
It's in the Constitution. He cannot end it. He can't do it. But who knows what these guys will do? I don't know because you can only change the Constitution through amendments.
Right.
I want to see what the excuse. What's he saying? Why can't he do it? Because of emergencies? Because he can? What's the reasoning behind it?
It'll be
It's an
interesting to
amendment.
see how far the Supreme Court goes in letting him get away with shit
If they
because
say the
it's pretty
word,
cut and dried.
if he says we need to have oral arguments on it, then there are a lot of people in this country who are fucked
Yeah.
because that is insane. There are a lot of people in this country, especially older people, are going to, and it's crazy. He's literally that's that's the ultimate distraction, y'all. And he's going to the Supreme Court because he is counting on the six to do whatever he wants.
Right.
I mean, Brett Kavanaugh kind of laid it down when he said that, yeah, if you're investigating whether or not you're a citizen or not, you can violate the Fourth Amendment, the due process. That's scary because that's the beginning. But if you're saying that a president can say, yeah, any part of the Constitution I can detain, we're done with it, then what's next? First Amendment? The Second Amendment? Because, hey, all gun guys, they will take your guns eventually if they want to take control.
Right.
That's common. I don't, that worries me because I don't trust the Supreme Court. They'll find
No,
an
I don't either.
excuse to do in the 14th Amendment. They will find an excuse to do it. That's unconstitutional to every legal mind in the world, in the country, but theirs. And you can't overdo it. Now, if they do it, if you do it, do you remember I keep saying, and I've said this for all the time we have spoken, if you give people nothing to lose, then it's on.
Yeah.
It's totally on. Because at that point, then what do I have to lose? I got nothing to lose. Oh, what are you going to do with us? I mean, it will get to that. People already, I saw an ICE agent pulling a weapon on innocent citizens. They already shot someone in Chicago who was trying to run from them.
Right.
All right. And no one has responded back. But if you do this, thinking that you're going to basically give Stephen Miller his 100 million white folk as Americans, that's not going to fly. I mean, that's
You're
got
going
to
to see
be.
you're
Go
going to
ahead, I'm
see a
sorry.
lot more Charlie Kirk situations out there. Republicans taking a nap.
I mean, it's not even Charlie Kirk. It would be mass. It would be en masse. Because if you start trying to take people who have been in this country, who born here of immigrant parents, and try to remove them, people will fight to the bitter end now.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And they think, and that's all Project 2025. That's all the racism. We told you. We told you. And then come back to what we started this whole discussion about. That is why there can be no peace with these people. This is what they wanted. And if he gets it, there's no amount of Tim Millers is going to convince me that we have to make peace with them. Because at that point, it's on. I don't know what to say at that point. What happens after that?
I will tell you this, that in spite of what people want to make peace with people, my personality is such when they have lost and when they are at their weakest, that's when I'll ramp it up even harder.
Yes.
Once you're on your knees, once you're on your knees, you're going to get kicked in the teeth
Everyone shut
because
up. Okay.
we can't negotiate with these people. We
No.
only have one option. We have to vanquish these people, and I don't mean
Yes.
mortally. I mean as a power.
I mean, let's the best example, if you want historical example, there was no way to negotiate a peace with the Japanese.
No.
The reason that we had to show the Japanese because of the sake of their honor that we were bigger and badder than they, and they had to surrender to us.
Right.
Period. It was either that we had to conquer the whole nation, and if you look up the plans of that was going to be horrific because the Japanese were going to die to the last man, woman, and child. The use of the nuclear weapons was something to show we can do this without stepping foot on your country.
Right.
And it gave them a chance to surrender. And when it comes to them, to the MAGA and all that, it's going to be worse because there will be a massive amount of collateral damage. But at that point, you surrender or we keep going. It's
Well,
simple as that.
that's an interesting comparison with the nuclear bombs in or atomic bombs in Japan. They know they were never going to be reasonable, so they had to be put in a situation where they had no choice but to surrender. And I feel like you say that's the same thing with Trumplefucks.
Mm.
If you leave one breathing a little bit, it's going to grow and
Right.
metastasize and be more of a problem. We've got to put them on their knees and make them surrender, make them lose face and fucking surrender. That's the only way we can deal with these people.
Yeah, because we gave them life again as soon as Trump became president again.
Oh,
We
yeah.
gave them life. We had put them down, but like a bad disease, when you don't give enough antibiotics, it came back. And we did that voluntarily. We
Yeah.
literally injected ourselves with the poison again. And now, Kamala Harris is out talking and all that. But I mean, Aaron Parnas had it on there and she goes, let's talk about hope. No, honey, I can't hear your hope message anymore.
So,
No, I can't because it didn't work. No offense to you, but you talked that and it was good thing to see, but unfortunately it didn't work because there are too many factors against you and it
I want to
cost us.
qualify. I want to qualify that though. There always is hope. Hope isn't the word you're looking for. Um, we got to have the hope, but we can't have the compromise or the forgiveness. Forgiveness and hope is a
Mm.
different thing. I have hopes for the future because I know that we'll ultimately take down the Republicans and put them on their knees. And in that, there's hope. We just can't be compassionate with these
No,
people because they don't respond to it.
yeah, the empathy's out. I mean, I have empathy for things that matter. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, but they don't matter. And
no,
everyone's going to say, well, that's cruel. No, because they don't have empathy for me. They don't. They would rather see me dead. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm right. Sorry. Okay. And that's the thing. I think a lot of the times when I do these videos and stuff, I'm wondering, why can't I get traction? I go, yeah, because I will tell you the truth that I know what you want to happen to me. You don't want
yeah,
to believe it, but I know what you want. Like,
yeah,
because I've heard this before. I've heard this before. At first, we would be able to tamp you down because we could shame you for speaking like that. Now
right.
it's a feature in this country. Okay, fine. We got to do this. And I'm hoping it goes to electoral way. Really, I do. And if Trump decides that he's going to go ahead and he gets the Supreme Court to remove birthright citizenship, at that point, it won't be electoral. It won't
No,
be. It's going to, because if you go after everyone, do you think everyone's just going to lay there and die? No. And
no.
do you think you're going to get the military to do that? I mean, that would be civil war. That would be outright violent civil war. And nothing could stop it at that
Yeah,
point.
I'm afraid that's where we're headed, and hopefully that's
Yeah.
not the case. I'm going to wrap up the Rational Boomer podcast. Will, thank you for coming on. I
Yeah.
appreciate it immensely. I knew you were
Uh,
fired up, but you're always fired up, so it's always
yeah.
good to hear your
I
perspective
like I
on
like
this.
I like to spend one day not worrying about shit. Other than, oh my God, the Dodgers lost another baseball game. How could they do that?
Yeah,
That's the thing. I want to spend a Sunday watching the red zone without having to worry about some bullshit on the outside.
me
Okay.
too.
And that's the thing. It's we do this because it just we have to say something.
Yeah,
That's why I think that's why I lost 3 accounts in TikTok because I want to say what I have to say. And again, you can find me on TikTok. I think it's RJ127. Binder 38 US on Substack, same on YouTube. You can find me there. We're going to still things, but also someone made a comment. I think is a good point when we're talking about the MAGA dentist. Speak out. Make a small thing because it's every pebble begins an avalanche.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and even though it looks bad and Trump is trying to come for stuff, always remember that's desperation. He's only doing that because he's desperate.
Right.
I mean, there's no way he thinks he's winning this if he wasn't so desperate. And we're going to see come October 1st how far they're going to go.
Yeah.
Because if they do what they want to do, that's chaos. And to them, they think chaos is the ladder. Nah, they don't. They haven't seen when you get the American people all chaotic. We get a little pissy,
Be
and that's
careful
one
what
thing
you
that
ask for. You might
exactly.
just get it. You might just
But
get it.
thank you, Mike, for letting me spout. I appreciate it very much again.
No problem. You're welcome anytime, as you know, and we appreciate you coming on and giving us your insights. Those of you listening, I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.